What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another CZN or Chaos Zero Nightmare video. And today I'm going to be talking about what partner I am going to be choosing from the Battle Pass. So I did actually just hit level 30 on the Battle Pass, and if you didn't know, if you buy this Battle Pass, you will be able to choose from a selection of 6 partners once you hit level 30. I do believe these partners will rotate with the Battle Pass at the top here every 35 days. So if you guys don't like the current selection, you can always wait for the next one if you don't want to, buy the Battle Pass, because honestly, the main reason of this is to kind of just buy that partner. But today I'm just going to be telling you guys, my personal pick and why I'm deciding to pick that partner. So I'll talk about all these partners one by one and, what I think about them. Obviously, I didn't test every single one, so I can't really say definitely which one you want to go for. But in general, if you are maining a character of that class, for example, if you're maining like Renoa, for example, which a lot of people like, you can always just go for their class specific one. It's never going to really be bad. But I'll just talk about, what I think about these partners at first glance, because I'm pretty sure no one has ever tested all of them at once. So we're going to look at Priscilla first. So Priscilla is going to give you 8% HP and damage, which is pretty standard on a lot of partners, the 8% number. This is also going to give you extra damage versus targets in the break state. And the thing with this is, even though this multiplier is super high, it's pretty hard to consistently line up your burst windows with this, because you have to draw into cards that, kind of enable you to burst a lot. But the ego skill is pretty good, right? It does 250% damage. It will give weakness attack to one assigned combatant's random attack card in your hand, which will make it do more damage. So if you put this on like a bursting ability like Haru's Anchor Shot super ramped up, you do crazy damage with it, especially if the target's already in a broken state. The thing is, however, with the striker partners, there's so many good ones, especially for the 5-star options. You can see it's like one of the only ones with 4 5-star options with Priscilla, Scarlet, Marianne, and Asteria. And it's clear that she's not going to be the best in slot for a lot of them. Haru is going to be the best in slot for, I guess Asteria is going to be the best in slot for Haru, because you're going to see it's going to make all of her 2-cost cards do a lot of damage. And then also like Marianne is also going to be very good for something like Mei Lin, and even like Scarlet's going to be very good for something like, just like every single striker in general. I think this is like the more general purpose one, but this one looks extremely good on Rin. Now, is Priscilla a bad choice? I don't really think so. It's not a terrible choice, but I think compared to the other choices on this selection list, you probably want to stay away from her, because there's going to be better partners that have like a clear-cut option in who they can be used for. So that's what I think about Priscilla, and that's probably why, or that's definitely why I'm not going for her. Next, let's talk about Eishlen. So this is for Vanguards, so a lot of the shielding characters. This will just give you 8% health and shield gain, which is great. A lot more tankiness, and on top of this, the passive effect is absolutely crazy. You're going to see whenever you gain counterattack, you will gain defense base damage. So this is going to be extremely, extremely good on stuff like Magna and like Maribel, anything that spams counters and scales with defense very well, because you are just going to be able to just ramp this up super quick and do a ton of damage with it. So extremely good partner for them. I think it's probably going to be the best option for those characters by far. So if you have like a Magna, I think this is kind of like an extremely good pick if you use her a lot. If you don't use Magna, you probably don't care about this, because why would you pick a partner for a character you don't use? But if you do use her, it's going to be absolutely crazy. And this ego skill, I think, is really slept on. It looks pretty weak, but you have to realize when you are using these characters, you're spamming a lot of abilities that generate shields, not only for the shield effect, sometimes, actually a lot of the times, for the secondary effect, like for like extra buffs or like just stacking your counterattack. So the shield falls off pretty quick before you get bursted. However, if you have this, this will allow you to retain your shield, so you can actually have it for another turn, so that, it doesn't get wasted. So it's a pretty strong ego skill as well. I think this partner is very strong on those, counterattacking defense damage dealers. So definitely a good choice. I'm honestly tempted to pick her, but I'm not too sure yet. In fact, I think there's a better one I might go for. Next, we have Solia. So this one's going to be good for Rangers, most specifically Veronica, because, Veronica is able to draw and extra attacks are very good on her. The thing with this one is that most people that are using Ranger DPSs are using Hugo, so they're very tempted to get this, right? Because there's not a lot of good Ranger partners in the 4-star category, honestly. But the thing is, with this one, it's not going to be the best for Hugo, which makes it a very hard pick for me personally, even though I do use Hugo in one of my teams. Because if you look at another Ranger one, I'm trying to find where that Ranger one went. Tina, this is going to be the best in slot for Hugo. You're going to see it's going to just give him, or give order characters, order Rangers, I wonder who that could be, extra damage, and also you get this extra attack damage from targeting attack cards. So it's going to be pretty solid for him. You're going to see that the ego skill for 2 is a draw and extra attack damage, which is absolutely crazy. So it's going to be very, very strong. So in terms of Solia, I think, if you do use Veronica a lot, it's a pretty good solid choice. I think it's going to be probably the best partner for her. So next we have Serithia. This is for hunters. So you have stuff like Luke and Renoa. Crit chance boost, which is very nice. You also get stacking crit damage when you crit. So it does look like a very good partner, but in the early game, I mentioned this before, getting enough crit rate right now is really hard on your characters. So even this 8% chance boost isn't enough, to be honest, for right now. I'm sure later down the line it'll be very strong, but you also have to realize that I keep going into the partner list when I don't have them. If you go to look at the other partners for hunters, there's really good choices. So you have stuff like Janet, which will give you extra crit as well. But when you use bullets 5 times, you get a random handgun bullet. And also you're going to see that this, what's it called? Ego skill is absolutely amazing. It's AoE and also will give you extra bullet damage. So it's going to be really good when you're dumping stuff like Dirge Bullet, right? Another one is like Kiara. Kiara is also very amazing. You're going to see that, especially for Renoa, when you have a lot of cards in your graveyard, your attack card damage goes up. So very strong. Also, when you discard a card, you get extra damage, and Renoa has a lot of discarding. So pretty good partner for her as well. I think in general, all of the Ranger partners are pretty good, but I will say that this one definitely feels the weaker of the 3. Not bad, right? The stat stick on this is pretty insane. I think in general, out of the 3, she's probably the weakest for the hunters because her effect is okay, but like I said, it's like not that good early game. So I don't think this is a good choice, but if you really want one for your Renoa early, like right now, you can choose it. But just keep in mind, in terms of like the free-to-play 4-star choices for hunters, you can use something like Akkad. You can also use something like Carity, which is very good as well. So there are some good choices for 4-stars. So you definitely don't need to actually, go for it just because you main those characters. So that's what I think about Serithia. Now let's go to the last 2. So we have Anteia here. And the thing with Anteia is going to be that it's going to give you damage when you generate a card. So this is going to be very good on stuff like Tressa, also like Kayron, right? Two psionic characters that are used a lot because both generate a ton of cards, right? So you're getting a ton of stacking damage. However, I will say for Kayron specifically, there is another psionic partner that seems better. I'm not too sure if it is because, I haven't tested it, but Bria looks absolutely cracked on Kayron as well, because you'll see that whenever you generate a card, you're getting extra damage, and you're also getting extra damage when you generate a status ailment card. And Kayron generates a ton of status ailment cards. So I think this one is going to be better for him, but Anteia does seem like a solid choice as well. But you can just look at the numbers and kind of see it just doesn't, like Anteia definitely doesn't look like a strong partner when you compare it to Bria, right? So I'm not really too sure why people would choose this one. I guess if you have Kayron right now and you want to use him, but I think this one is just going to be way better for him. So yeah, that's what I want to say about Anteia. There's only one psionic 5-star DPS, and it looks like it's very good with Bria, but if a new character comes out and it's psionic, it could change. So last but not least, we're going to talk about Nyx. I think this one is going to be generally the best one for most people, if not everyone. The reason why is because you can see that when you draw, you get extra damage, and it's going to be very good on stuff like Nia and Cassius automatically. But the biggest thing is, if you don't have a lot of draw on your character, which is fine, you can use the ego skill to draw. You discard up to 3 cards, then draw +1, so you can get 4. And the reason why this is so broken is because this can set up your burst windows. If you're using like the Renoa, you can discard your bullets right away and then, use them and then draw into other cards that can generate bullets. And then maybe even, use your ego skill in that same turn as well if you can generate enough ego points, which I highly doubt, but it's just theoretically. and also because this will trigger your passive as well. On top of that, a lot of people are running double controller teams, and right now, the way that stacking partners work is that they just add to the same effect. So people are like stacking Arwins, for example, and it's not really working as well. And the other 4-star controller partner is just absolutely terrible, so you don't really want to use it. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not nearly as good as Arwen. So because of that reason, I think Nyx is really good, especially if you're running like a double controller team, which is pretty common nowadays, I think, with like Nia and even Cassius, or Mika and Cassius, or even Mika Nia for some comps. But this one just alone is absolutely amazing for just bursting. I will say though, if you can't get this one, it's not the end of the world, because like I said, Arwen is like so OP. This is like the best 4-star controller, not even controller, just 4-star partner in the game, because you're just getting like 30% damage reduction at times. Usually like 10 to 20%, but that's still absolutely amazing. But yeah, those are just pretty much my thoughts on the partners for, you know, the battle pass. For me personally, I think I'm just going to end up choosing Nyx. So, you know, it is the most universal, and I'm actually just going to get it right now because I was kind of waiting to make this video to summon her. But I think she is going to be by far the best option for me. In terms of whether it's the best for you, it's up to you to decide. I don't think there's any wrong decisions, but yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.